Well, we continue this month of July with the theme from Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide, which is Advocate for Freedom of Thought. And the value for the month is creativity. And today is about creative enlightenment. How are we going to get clever about our own enlightenment and about helping to bring that light to others and to our planet? Well, Ernest Holmes says, God's creative power of mind is right here. We have as much of this power to use as we believe in and embody. The storehouse of nature is filled with infinite good, awaiting the touch of our awakened thought to spring forth into manifestation in our lives. But the awakening must be within our own thought. So we are becoming profoundly aware of the immediacy of the universal power within us. That feels wonderful. It is actually empowering to remember that we don't need to do anything all by ourselves. That there is a creative, intelligent activity working through all of nature and working through each one of us as individualized manifestations of that one creative, intelligent life. So as we awaken to who we truly are, and as we live from that place of serene and authentic power, we find ourselves modeling it for others. They get to see that there's another way to be, that we don't need to walk around in frustration or anger or concern. We can touch into the power and share it with others. We need to change something. We need to have a creative imagination, and we do. And sometimes we use that creative imagination in ways that aren't quite so helpful. So we are learning how to use it positively, consciously, constructively, creatively. Václav Havel, who became the president of the Czech Republic, said, "We must develop a new understanding of the true purpose of our existence on Earth. Only by making such a fundamental shift will we be able to create new models of behavior and a new set of values for the planet." We are creating a new set of values for the planet. You know that one of my favorite books these days is Sharif Abdullah's Creating a World That Works for All. He says, changing your story, changing our story, the planetary story, which is more than just a folk tale or a nursery rhyme. We're changing the story, which means changing the blueprint of how we're living in our human consciousness. So he says, changing our story is the fastest and most effective way to change our world. And I love how he speaks about the three categories of people as the keepers, the breakers, and the menders. And those of you who have read this book are familiar with those terms. The keepers, that's the original story. And in any nation, that would be the Aboriginal folk. When Reverend Mike and I were in Toronto for the Parliament of the World's Religions last November, there were the first people represented there as well, caring about the earth. They never stopped caring about the earth because their motto would be living in harmony with all I encounter. Then the breakers, that is no longer the original story, that's the dominant story, and it's more about creating a world that works for me. I'm separate, there isn't enough, and he calls the breakers those who have created the mess Do you think there's a mess in the world? Maybe. But messes can be cleaned up, can't they? That's the exciting thing. I like to clean a really dirty floor. You know, dusting is boring. I want to see the difference when I get done. I want to see the wood shining. I want to see the floors glistening. I want to see that I'm making a difference. And I want to bring joy and a sense of possibility into all the work that I do, whether it's physical or spiritual. So the third category, that's us. It's the menders. This is the emerging story. We had the original story, the dominant story, and now the emerging story. Creating a world that works for all. This is about inclusivity. This is about we are one. We live as conscious, integral parts of a vital, sacred planet, and there is enough for all. So I'd say we're menders, but we're more than menders. We are co-creators. We're creating a whole new dream for the planet, a whole new blueprint, and thank God we're not the only ones. There are people all over this planet, and maybe beyond, who are working to co-create, truly co-create, a world that works for all through creative enlightenment. We've got to get clever. We've got to use our imagination in a whole different way. How creative can we be in sharing the good news that you are not alone? How creative can we be about sharing the good news that there is a power within us that's greater than we are, and yet we can use it because it never leaves us. We are one with it. And that means we're also one with one another. What I do to one affects me. What I do to me affects others. It's a very important point that I think we are getting. We understand that everything we do can make a difference. And we want it to be a loving, caring, conscious, creative difference. I want to use my imagination to think differently. When I see a problem, I think it was cute that Lilia decided, oh, okay, you see a problem, you smush it. You make something else out of it. It's only energy, right? So we want to change that energy. And it's everywhere present. We can use it in a very different way. I use my imagination for all kinds of things. I do crosswords. I'm an addict. I'm sorry. I'm Maxine, and I'm an addict for crosswords. And I have to do them. If I see a newspaper, I will gravitate toward it and immediately start working the crossword. So be warned, if I come into your house, hide your newspapers. I will grab them and I go one right after another. I have found with crosswords that you must think imaginatively, because it's often not at all what you think they mean the first time. And so walking away from it and coming back and going, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way, you can fill it in and there's a great sense of satisfaction. You never know what's going to happen in your life. You just never know. Things pop up. Well, we want to be grounded in spirit. We want to be sure of the power that is within us and use it creatively and use our imaginations constructively. Last night, Reverend Mike and I discovered we had no hot water. How would you like that? You've probably, some of you experienced it from time to time. Oh. Well, we knew there was an answer. We mulled over some things. He tried to push the reset button and so forth. Didn't change a thing. That's all right. Somehow there will be hot water in the morning. So where we live, there's a door on our deck. And if you open the door, there's the hot water heater. Well, since we moved in there for almost 4 years ago, it's not just for hot water heaters anymore. he built shelves, and it's our warehouse. It's we call it the warehouse. And you can't imagine the things that he keeps in there that really keep us supplied with everything we need. Well, he realized if we were going to call maintenance, he was going to have to clear out the warehouse first. And that's what he did first thing this morning before even coming to put the signs up here. Cleaned up the whole warehouse, and I continued to give thanks that there was a creative solution, and then called maintenance. They came out in just a few minutes and had a very intricate but effective way of turning the pilot light back on. We're so grateful. Look at, we're clean. We had showers and everything. There's always a way, but it takes trusting that the creative intelligence of this universe knows what to do. In fact, when our neighbor downstairs heard all the stuff coming out of the, the warehouse this morning, she called up and said, "Are you guys okay?" And then she said, "You want to come down here and shower?" No, I know there's a way. We use our creative intelligence creatively, intelligently, and with trust in a power that's greater than we are, that sometimes includes very clever maintenance men. This awareness of the ingenuity that we all have, this creativity, allows us to have revealed to us the ways and means to real freedom, real freedom. We don't want to be stuck in challenges. We want to lift the collective unconscious and to co-create a new world. That's a term that Ernest Holmes borrowed from Jung. When he was asked, Ernest Holmes was asked, "What is this teaching, this philosophy supposed to do? What's it for?" He said, "It is to lift the collective unconscious." And we all have within us those unconscious places. Imagine the entire world, all of humanity as a whole, has plenty of unconscious places that we want to lift up to consciousness. We want to awaken people to their spiritual magnificence. Let's work with love as we do this, not with fear. Let's not make changes because we're afraid. Let's make changes because we want a fabulous world in which to live. And it's divinely designed that we have that. We just need to do our important part. So we want to work with love. We want to work with clear intention. And with the knowledge that we're just not doing this alone. Let's get real creative. Let's get real imaginative. The next time you begin to react when you read something or someone says something to you, stop and think, how can I remold this? How can I respond with love rather than react with anything less than that? And let's do our work with love, our spiritual work as well as our physical work. Let's do it with love and a creative intention, knowing that we're truly making a difference. Another favorite of mine is John O'Donoghue's Anamkara, the Book of Celtic Wisdom. And I'm going to read this blessing from this book. May the light of your soul guide you. May the light of your soul bless the work you do with the secret love and warmth of your heart. May you see in what you do the beauty of your own soul. May the sacredness of your work bring healing, light, and renewal to those who work with you and to those who see and receive your work. May your work never weary you. May it release within you well springs of refreshment, inspiration, and excitement. May you be present in all you do. May you never become lost in the bland absences. May the day never burden. May the dawn find you awake and alert, approaching your new day with dreams, possibilities, and promises. May evening find you gracious and fulfilled. May you go into the night blessed, sheltered, and protected. May your soul calm, console, and renew you. This is the place from which we wish to do our loving, dynamic, creative work, from a place of knowing that we're here very much on purpose. Do you know the planet would not be the same without you on it? Have you ever thought about that? Each of us is required. Each of us is necessary. Each of us is part of this divine something. And we each have our special work to do. Let's do our work with love, with creative imagination, with the realization that more things are possible than we may have been told. More things are available to us than we ever knew. We're not the original story, the keepers. We don't have to be the dominant story, the breakers. We are already the emerging story. More than menders, we are co-creators with this living, loving presence, which is always seeing us and the world in absolute perfection. Have you ever thought about that? The divine sees nothing but wholeness. Your wholeness, my wholeness, and the wholeness of the world. So I'm thrilled about the work we get to do. Are you? Huh? You sure? It's sweet and it's powerful and it is ours to do. And every day I ask myself, today, what is mine to do? Show me what is mine to do. It may be little, it may be big, but it's mine to do. And there isn't anybody else can do it, just like I do it. And the same with you. What is yours to do each day? There's no one in the world who can do that just the way you can. And that's a wonderful thing. Will you say with me, I awaken to the perfect power of mind. I willingly share it with all in my world. And so, my beloveds, beginneth our lesson a little earlier than usual, but we beginneth our lesson, and so it is. Thank you.